I always hear this about Glasgow and like Edinburgh. They have a proper beef with each other. How bad is it as a comedian? Do you really have to change your sort of set if you go into each city?
First time I went from Glasgow to gig in Edinburgh, it still went well, but they weren't as enthusiastic as they were in Glasgow. And I did get explained that Edinburgh's kind of looked on as kind of Britain's loudest smilers to some extent. But then you realise there's that international crowd, and you can go to Edinburgh. Well, I was up in Edinburgh on Wednesday, and a gig of 60 people, there's one Scottish person. So the dynamic's completely different. But as you get better, you don't need to change the material as much because you want to appeal to as many people as possible when you're a comedian. So if you can do that, you should be able to go anywhere.
Is there a flip side to that though? Because there's a lot of great comics who don't do that. Like in Edinburgh, they have good shows, or there's like Jerry Sadowitz. I mean, he is successful as a bastard, really. But if you try and bend over to other audiences, does that take away from being good for those that like you?
Well, being involved in stand-up, everybody wants to find their own audience, don't they? And eventually that's the hope, that people follow you rather than you having to go out and look for them, and eventually you're doing solo shows and the likes. So I tend not to try and change my material too much for a place. But it is always good to discuss the place you're in, I suppose.
Just yeah, as a little bit of like a precursor and like
Yeah.
give a bit of respect. I mean, if I went to Glasgow or Edinburgh with an England shirt, that would be complete. That would potentially cause a few issues depending on the venue I went to.
Well, not so much a venue, the crowd instantly in a Glasgow crowd, you'd split it in two, maybe even more. But it depends. If you came on as a character act or something and it was part of the act, it would be accepted. Edinburgh, I don't think anybody would blink an eyelid because 90% of the audience are English anyway.
Oh, is that the common joke in Scotland that Edinburgh's English?
Yeah, it's just under Edinburgh, it just says "Welcome to England."
It does have a. I mean, I've only been up to Edinburgh during the festival, but it does have always like a light feel about it, and from what I see,
Prefer gigging in Edinburgh because I feel I'll learn more, basically because of that dynamic of the audience being completely different from anywhere else in the UK. Probably you're going to have people from all over the world in that one room, and you don't know who it's going to be. You also get a lot of Americans and Australians, but you're getting a lot of Eastern Europeans and people from all walks of life as well. What you don't get is many Glaswegians, to be honest.
they probably. I mean, don't a lot of people move out of Edinburgh during the Fringe, and a lot of Glaswegians like, right, the Edinburgh Fringe is on. Let's make sure we're away from that.
Well, even outside the Fringe, like I was gigging at the Edinburgh stand over a weekend, and my friend says to me, "Why don't we just stay up there on the Saturday night and make the most of it?" We thought, right, we'll look for somewhere to stay. And do you know the cheapest place that we could find that was viable was a room in Glasgow? So what's the point? So we just went home.
Oh, it is quite mad, isn't it? During the Fringe, I looked at good rental places, and what's the name of it? Digs List. That's like the main accommodation supply in Edinburgh Fringe, and the best place they had was in Glasgow for £800 for the month.
Yeah, that's brutal. But the thing is, for our Fringe show, I just travelled through every day, which was exhausting in itself. But the nightmare was the cycling championships were in Glasgow, and it was just an absolute nightmare to get through the city to even get to Edinburgh. I've never hated cyclists so much in my life.
I'll come to London, you'll hate them a lot more. The thing that you don't like about them is when some of them, they're not all. There should be a license to riding a bike on the road as well, not just driving a car.
Yeah, I know you're not paying any tax to be there.
It is what it is.